Otter. Amen.
This pencil is done. Lucy.
Put it down.
Give it to me.
Why are you using that iPad?
Ow.
Okay, Annalise, you put the wrong iPad back. This one is supposed to be at Tiggly.
Not getting up to you, Doug.
This is Friends, have a seat and grab your pencil. Hudson, oh, never mind. Shh. You are silently waiting. I appreciate that you keep complimenting me, but now is not the time. Phelan, Etta, Kate, Florence, Declan.
Finish writing. You're not getting up till you're done. Write the favorite part with the polar bears or the one. If I didn't check you, look at me. Don't get sassy with me. When I check it, you lose up.
Eamon,
I didn't see you.
Hilmer, Jazara, Alex, Hudson, Jason, Annalise, Mason, Zora, Ariella. 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me. Oh, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me.
1, 2, eyes on you.
Get over here. Thank you. Open up to the next clean page. Put the pencils in the middle. Come get yours. Wonderful. We don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm going to read the beginning of the Lorax. While I am reading, I want you to write what you see in the story. So what is the setting? What are the characters' names? What is happening in the beginning of the story? Amen. You're not looking at me, so that tells me that you aren't paying attention. Do you know what to do?
Yeah.
What do you need to do?
Draw what the setting is.
I said write what the setting is, and that's not all I said. I also said that you need to write who the characters are and what happens in the beginning of the story. All right? The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing except old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. What kind of book is this? What are what do all the words do, Declan? They rhyme. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives here. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkin on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkin, cold under the floor, where he makes his own clothes out of muffled moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you too, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. Miss Susan, I made the copies. I'll give them to you.
No, it's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I don't need it till
Okay, great. Okay, I'll give them to you then. That's okay.
Oh yeah, it's all mine. Thank you so much.
Of course. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great, great, great grandfather snail. And he pulls up the pail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in its grovulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-mophone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Down sleeps the whisper-mophone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time ago. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean and the song of the swoony swans rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place. And I saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits, and they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comforting sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. So what is happening so far? We're still in the beginning of the story. What's happened so far? Who can tell me? Alex, what's happened?
That what's happening is, the Lorax,
Have we met the Lorax yet? No, not yet. So we're not talking about the Lorax yet. What's happening right now, Declan? What's been happening in the beginning of the story?
the kid did the Lorax money.
Did he give the Lorax money or did he give the Onceler money? The Onceler, yeah, we haven't met the Lorax yet. So the characters so far are who? The kid and the Onceler. Say it.
The Onceler.
Say it.
The Onceler.
And do you know where the setting is? Where do we think this setting is? What does it look like? Wushi?
In the night.
In the night. And where is it taking place, Hudson?
In a house.
In a house. And then we change quickly to another setting. Do you remember what this was called? The Truffula Tree Forest.
I've seen it.
You've seen it before? Because this is a movie, right?
Yeah, I have the movie.
Oh, there's a show too?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so in the beginning of the story, we met the Onceler. We met the kid. We saw the Onceler's house, and we saw the Truffula Tree Forest. That is what's happened so far. We have not met the Lorax yet. Well, yeah, but he's not in the story yet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop here because we need to get ready for specials, lunch, and recess. But maybe tomorrow we'll actually meet the Lorax. What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah? All right,
I love this food.
girls, silently put the pencils away, silently put the notebooks away, and go get your stuff for specials, lunch, and recess.